My soul is in the highlands, my consciousness is not here. It keeps rising from lowlands. Come and fly with me. Come, I'll wait you 1,000 years. Come, I'll never let you shed tears. Come, let me fly with you. Come, darling, all I want is you. Mom, tell me, why don't they accept my poems, Mom? Am I writing a weird thing?
My dear daughter, you must know that you're talented, that you're a gifted poet. But despite this, you must understand that I've spoken to them, yet they don't listen to me.
No matter what happens then, I will never, ever stop writing. Was it bad? I will never forget the time when I received the negative feedback from my classmates right after reading my first little masterpiece. And it was the first push for me to discover myself in a literary world and examine myself how much I accept the things in the universe. As a teenage girl, I tried so hard to search as much information as I can because I wanted to prove that girls may also be naturally gifted in literary world. So, one question for you. Have you ever heard or read about the groundbreaking books or novels that were written by female authors and the books that the whole world admitted, like Harry Potter? If yes, please raise your hand. Okay, thank you. Now let me give some examples. First things first is Virginia Woolf. Considering her novels, groundbreaking books, and two novels like To the Lighthouse and Mrs. Dalloway. She was the evocative in female initiative in writing world, in the literary world, and famous for her two novels. When it comes to the novel, the Mrs. Dalloway, this novel delves into the complexities of the situation after the post-war, in the English society, and she described this situation perfectly with the help of a day in the life of Mrs. Dalloway. To the Lighthouse, this novel delves into the description of the complexities of both genders and the reason and emotion. Second is Jane Austen. Have you ever heard the name of the novel, Pride and Prejudice? Right. Pride and Prejudice and The Sense and Sensibility, these two novels were the masterpiece of Jane Austen. In Pride and Prejudice, Jane Austen was the keen observer of the human nature and tried to describe the 19th century's misconceptions and also the story of love with the help of two main heroes in Pride and Prejudice. When it comes to Sense and Sensibility, she tried so hard to describe the balance between reason and emotion. Now, one question may spot in your mind, and you may blame me somehow, because there are so many male writers and they also have groundbreaking novels, right? Yes, exactly. I'm not saying there are no men who writes better novels. Okay, let me give some examples and initiatives in their novels. First of all, George Orwell. Have you ever paid attention to the slogan in 1984, like, Big Brother is watching you, right? In 1984, George Orwell tried to describe the situation in the past, and this novel was the proof for George Orwell is not only an author, but also a predictor. Why I am saying a predictor here? Because in 1984, the author have written this novel in 1948, and this book was published after a year, and the author named the novel 1984. And do you guys believe in me if I say Big Brother is still alive? Because we have our phones, right? mobile phones. We can do everything with it. We bring it to everywhere, even to the bathroom. We do everything, even because of the development of the social media. We are trying to use our mobile phones as a tool of finding our future loyal future spouses, right? Secondly is Jack London. Jack London is an American author and famous for his evocative, captivating writing style. During his novels, he tried to use as much similes and metaphors as he could, because with the help of this, he made her readers to feel the deeply connection with the struggles of the characters and characters itself. For example, in the novel of the Sea Wolf, you can easily connect the relationship with the character and his struggle with this simile. The cold hand that laid on icy clutch upon his heart. Now, now I have one question for you. Okay, we saw two genders in their novels, right? And what sets apart the written works of men and from those women? There are some research that were done by me, and according to my research, first of all, they are different with each other with certain aspects. First of all, because of their writing styles. Women writers tend to explore the themes which are connected to identity, gender, and class in misconceptions in the society. And while male writers tend to explore the themes that are about being dominant and triumph, and also other categories that describes the strong character. Second is the description of their male and female characters and personages in their stories. For example, male writers tend to describe their characters strong, dominant, and can control every situation. But while women writers tend to describe their characters, women characters, multidimensional, complex, and thoughtful, and careful about their inner thoughts and ideas. Now, here is one interesting question for you. Have you ever imagined that what if Harry Potter, yeah, you know that Harry Potter was written by J.K. Rowling, right? And have you ever imagined that this novel wasn't written by woman writer, but instead of woman writer, it was written by male writer? How it could be? Yeah, it may be different because of certain aspects, like the situation or the relationships between both genders. I mean, two main characters in the story would be different. For example, especially the romantic ones would be different, and the description of the characters also differs somehow. But it was only the generalizations. No matter which gender of authors has written has written Harry Potter, it doesn't play the main role. It doesn't affect to the content of the Harry Potter. So the last thing I want to share with you is, because of if we go back to the history, the literary world was different because the male writers was dominant in writing and publishing their manuscripts, while women writers, they didn't have. But now, as we are living in the era that the gender equality is in power, I decided to collect all of my poems and stories under one book and publish it. And I'm sure that it will be the real proof that for the negative feedback that I have received right after first birth of my first masterpiece. Thank you so much.